Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Pastor Jan here. For today's Discover Jesus Challenge, we're going to talk about Mark chapter 14. And the verses that I want to highlight from this chapter are verses 3 to 9. And it is a story of the woman who had the expensive alabaster jar of oil and how she broke that open and she poured that out over Jesus before he went to be crucified. And so, I want to highlight just a few things from this passage that I think are really incredible. You can read that and just think, oh, okay, she was just doing this, as Jesus said, to prepare his body for burial, anointing him ahead of time. But if you look deeper into what she was doing, she was actually demonstrating what incredible, extravagant worship looks like. And so she was a lady who did not come from wealth, did not come from education. She did not have rank or status. She actually was a lady of the night that had encountered the power of God, and God had touched her. And she was so changed by what Jesus did for her that she wanted to demonstrate her worship and her gratitude and her love for Jesus. So she was in possession of this incredible alabaster jar. It would have been worth more than a year's salary, is what it would have been worth. And she didn't hold anything back. She went right to Jesus. It was a house full of people. There were disciples were around him. There were scholars and Pharisees and men who were around him that had education or status or rank. And she was somebody who had nothing except for this jar. And she went right to Jesus, right to his feet. And she bowed down at his feet. She actually, if you read this same story in other gospels, you'll see that she was weeping and that her tears were washing the feet of Jesus. And she broke open this jar. For her to break open that jar, it would have never been able to be used again. In order to break it open, she had to destroy the jar. And so, and she had to pour out all of it. She couldn't reserve any or save any. She had nothing to take any of it back with her. So she would have had to break it open and pour it all out. And so she basically demonstrated what extravagant worship looks like. And that is that she gave everything that she had. She let it all go. She didn't hold back any of it. She poured it out completely. It was a very emotional act that she did. She would have been crying. She would have been at Jesus' feet. She used her hair to wipe off her tears from Jesus's feet. She, in the whole house full of people, she only cared about Jesus in that house. She just wanted to be next to him. She didn't want to talk to anyone else or visit with anyone else, or she didn't care if they were looking at her. And what she did would have been very noticeable. So people would have been standing there watching her and probably scratching their head wondering, why are you doing this and what are you doing? In fact, some of the people in the house were criticizing her and saying that, what are you doing? You could have sold that jar for a lot of money. You could have helped the poor, and you just wasted it, And Jesus rebuked them and said, what this woman did for me was a good thing, and leave her alone. And actually, from now until eternity, people will read about what she did for me, because it was that extravagant. It was that amazing. And so her act of what she did would have been very noticeable. It would have gotten the attention of everybody in the room. But she didn't do it for anyone else. She did it for Jesus. And she didn't care that they were criticizing her or judging her. She was just so motivated to pour herself out and just to show and demonstrate her love for Jesus in such an extravagant way. The aura or the fragrance or the aroma from that oil would have filled that house, filled that room, filled the house it would have spilled out into the street outside of the house. So anybody who would have been walking by would have been caught by the fragrance of that oil and would have been drawn to see what that was, or where did that come from. It would have been all over her, all over everyone in the house, and anybody walking by would have been able to pick up on it as the aroma and the fragrance diffused through the air. She just was humble. She gave it all. She didn't hold back. She didn't care if people saw her or made fun of her or criticized her or put her down for it. She wasn't doing it for anyone else's benefit. She was doing it to show her incredible adoration and love for Jesus. And it is a picture of what worship should look like. So we, as followers of Jesus and believers of Jesus, if we say that we love Jesus and we follow him and we believe him and that we worship him, then our worship should be humble, extravagant, generous. We should do it with everything we have inside of us, pouring it out, emptying ourselves out, not holding anything back. We should do it and not care whether other people see it and judge it and criticize it, because it's not for them. Worship is for Jesus, not for other people. She just testified to what it looks like to be an incredible worshiper of God. That's what she testified to. And in this act alone, we can gain so much from it. Maybe she didn't feel like it. Maybe she didn't feel like she was worthy enough to do it, but she did it anyway. Not looking at her value, but looking at the value of the one that she was worshiping. And to her, Jesus was so valuable. He was worth everything she owned. And he was worth her pouring it all out for him. And so it's an incredible testimony of what it looks like to be an extravagant worshiper of Jesus. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter. I hope you enjoyed this little excerpt that I shared with you today. Keep going, keep doing it, one chapter a day, every day until Easter. You guys are doing it, you're making it through it, and this is good for you, and it's good for all of us to do this. So God bless you. Have a great day.